Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game 50 of the Real Racquetball Show. We want to thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. I think Maurice is with me. I'm not sure. His picture disappeared. There he is. Maurice, how are you?
What's going on, Mike?
Just enjoying it all. Absolutely. So, I understand you just got back from a tournament. How'd that go?
I did. It was fun. We played the Capital Classic IRT. Me and Troy did. Pretty good preparation for U.S. Open. Long drive. Not doing that again. But I'm feeling okay. Good to be here, Mike. It's good to be here.
Good. So it's in Maryland, right?
Yeah, at the Severna Park. I know they held one last year. Most likely gonna be doing another one again. I think it was raised in level this year. Hopefully I'll bring you out next year. See if I can get you out there. They had a combined 60s division. I'm not even kidding. My pops played it. I'm on everything I love.
That'd be a ball.
We can go.
Hey, it's a little bit of a jaunt for me, but hey, I wouldn't rule it out.
Got it.
By this time next year, I might actually be playing again.
Hopefully.
Okay. Well, let's jump in. We've got a couple really great topics to go over. Our first guest is a very distinguished gentleman. Is Dr. Tim Baghurst. If we could bring him in, the new junior head coach, USA Racquetball, Team USA junior head coach, deputy director of the LPRT, and scholar, all kinds of things. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I just got called distinguished. I think that goes on my resume.
There you go. Well, I guess just we wanted to get you on the show. Not a lot of people know who you are or much about you. At least took me a while to do some research and learn about who you are. I'd seen you around. You do a lot of broadcasting for the LPRT. Fantastic, great job of doing that. But tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of how you got to where you are, and now you're the new junior Team USA coach.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm originally from England. I grew up around the world and did college. Started college in England and then did some in Wales before moving to the U.S. to continue my education. Went to the University of Arkansas. Eventually, did my doctorate in kinesiology, which sports science is another word for that. And then started the track of being a professor. Went to a few different schools. Spent about 7 years at Oklahoma State, and then I've been at Florida State for the last 3 years running a coach education program at FSU.
Yeah, wow! Didn't know you were at Oklahoma State. That's neat. Being part of the Big 12, that's neat. So what made you want to be the junior team head coach? What prompted that? With all the things you've done, that doesn't seem like it fits right in line with all those, but tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it was a simple decision, right? Because you're positioned with a lot of responsibilities, particularly with the juniors and such a large team. But I really like working with junior athletes. It's a lot of fun. I love the enthusiasm that they bring. And for me, this is an opportunity to really test myself as well, to find out if I really do know racquetball, if I really do know how to coach the sport. Sure, I worked with individuals for the last several years, pro, amateur, you name it. But to work for or to work with a whole team is a unique opportunity, and to work with a national team, I think for most coaches is a white whale in some respects of just being able to do something that you've always dreamed of doing. It's exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, you probably know a lot of the juniors already, just from being around the sport as long as you have. What do you think? What's your thoughts on the team? And there's been some changes, of course. They've added the 21 and under divisions. They changed the scoring system in it. There's been a lot of changes. So this is kind of you're coming into some new territory that some of the juniors are probably going to need some help with, and some strategy coming going to championships. So what's what's your thought on the team and the structure of it, and the individuals that are on the team this year?
Yeah, missing 2019, I think really hurt because we didn't get to see some of these players in action, and so they haven't competed on the international stage for maybe 3-4 years, depending on whether they made the team in 18. So we're really going in with a blank slate to some extent of, hey, got nothing to lose here. We don't have the experience. A lot of these athletes will have never been to Worlds before. So let's go experiment. Let's go try. Let's just do our best and see what happens, because we don't know. We don't know. Of course, you've got Mexico and Bolivia who are thereabouts every year. They always bring really strong teams. And then you have the sprinkling of other countries as well. I was up in Canada streaming their nationals, and they've got some really talented juniors, not to mention every country brings somebody who can be there or thereabouts. And so the challenge is, can you go from being a national champion or top 2 or 3 in the US and translate that into being one of the top 2 or 3 in the world? And that's another step. And I think it's very doable for a lot of the athletes that we have. They're very good. They have a lot of talent, but now we've got a couple of months to really put in work to find out, can you walk away from World Juniors giving everything, going, okay, now I know where I am, as opposed to, oh man, if only I'd put in the work over the last couple of months, I might have achieved what I was hoping for. So it really comes down to, I've got a great coaching staff, right? They're tremendous, a lot of experience, both as competitors and as coaches. But really, as coaches, we can't do massive change in a match. We can make 1 or 2 tweaks. We can maybe find an advantage that gets a few points, but really it comes down to, how much are the athletes trained? How much are they putting in to be ready to, when they walk on the court, to really give everything to represent their country? That's crucial. And really our job is to just help fine-tune that desire.
And I know you've got a really good staff. The board just approved that full slate last week or week before, and really glad to see that come through. Like you said, it's a large team, and having enough adults there to help coach matches while they're playing, but also to help make sure that they're where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there, which is, I've been around and that's a challenge.
Sure. And Cheryl Kirk's going as team leader, and she's done it for several years now, and does really a good job doing that to allow the coaches to do what they're supposed to do. We do have a big team. I'm not sure, but it could be the largest team in USAR junior history, just because we have mixed doubles, we have the 21s. When I interviewed, I was doing the math, and if we have everybody in every division, we're looking at a minimum of 42 matches a day to cover, matches. So when you look at that, you go, wow, okay, we're going to be busy. This is not hey, let's go, coach 2-3 matches and then go sit by the pool. It doesn't work like that. I've been to juniors several times. We're there from dawn till dusk and beyond. And it really is grueling, but there's so much joy that comes from coaching and seeing athletes really perform to their potential. It's really special to be there.
And after watching the athletes compete to earn their spot on the team, you mentioned it before, it appears to me like we have a really strong team. There are some terrific athletes, some great ball players. I think that we've got a really good chance to show well. And the event coming up is in Guatemala, and it's December 2nd through the 11th, I believe. Should be a great event. I'm anxious to see how they do, because they say at the junior nationals, boy, there was some great racquetball played. It was a lot of fun to watch. And seeing their dream, but they work hard to get to that point, and to see them reach that goal, just so much fun to watch. I always enjoy that. So that'll be neat. So how do you I mean, and they're scattered all over across the country. So how do you reach them? Do you have group calls? I know that like Zoom and is much more common than it was, pre-COVID. So that's more acceptable. How do you connect with them individually or as a group?
Yeah, it's a great question. And that's one of the challenges. We don't have a camp this year, so we can't get everybody together pre-tournament to just mingle, get to know each other, really develop that team culture and identity. So it is a challenge. We're going to start as soon as the US Open's over. We're going to start meeting as a group. And then within that group, what I've also done is assigned a coach to a group of players. And that assignment was based on a survey I gave out to the athletes to find out what they liked in a coach and what they didn't like in a coach, to understand, okay, whose personality will best fit this athlete? Because we don't want to say, hey, Maurice, you're with these 5 players, when Maurice doesn't know those players. Those players have said they don't like anything that would resemble Maurice. We're going to have problems on the court. Now, of course, everybody loves Maurice and everybody wants to be coached by Maurice because he just tells everybody to kill the ball. It's easy.
Hey,
Yeah.
it works.
It works.
But in all seriousness, we wanted to make sure that rather than just having, okay, we're all this one big team and we're all just going to coach whoever's available right now, then you walk up and the athlete's like, well, who's this? I've never talked to them and now they're coaching me. That's a terrible idea. We want to develop relationships. We want to make sure that those players trust us, even though we have to do this virtually for now.
Yeah.
So we're going to be pairing those coaches off in the Zoom sessions with their athletes so that we can start talking. We also tried to pair the coaches with doubles players. So if the player's playing singles and doubles, we wanted them to work with both the singles players who are playing together as doubles so that we don't get that, well, I coach this person and you coach this person, so who's going to coach the doubles?
Right.
I'm coaching Maurice and I'm coaching Marquise, and they're playing doubles together. It's perfect because we can work with both of them in both environments. So we're trying to do that. We're also going to be, almost all of us, I think Jen Meyer isn't able to be there, but we'll also be at the US Open. So we'll meet some of the players in person there. Some of them, of course, I've known for a few years, especially if they've played on the women's tour. But really, it's developing that, just who we are, developing that culture of what is it to be a USA player? What does it mean to wear that shirt, that jersey? Are you really going to give it all when you wear that? What does it mean when things are hard for you, or when you want to quit or get angry? How do you handle those situations, knowing you don't just represent yourself in a tournament, you're representing more than that? So we want to get that across and really develop that team identity. My goal is to have some of the former players or current players for USA also join those Zooms to talk a little bit about their experiences in juniors and what they've learned and how they want to kind of pass on the legacy to these others who are going to represent Team USA. So this is the start. I don't see this as Tim's going to get to Worlds. We're going to get through Worlds and then, see you all later at Nationals. Hope you train.
Right.
But let's get to Worlds. Let's get through Worlds and then look at how do we develop this as a plan where we can really focus on building juniors back in the U.S. We really have to do that. And I know there are pockets around the country. I know there are great coaches working with these juniors. How do we connect with them? How do we support them? How do we maybe, have training camps around the country in different locations where parents don't have to fly their kids there? These are areas I really want to explore so that we start to develop this as a multi-year project rather than every year, let's hope the U.S. team is good. We rely so heavily on one or two players to carry us. We don't have that strength in depth where if a player does say, I can't go, which has happened, unfortunately, for a couple of our athletes this year, the depth chart isn't as deep as we would like. And we have to address that so that the next one up is just going to push as hard.
So as someone who is obviously commentated for years. It not just talking LPRT, but internationally you've gone also. And as a player yourself, representing, what are some of the biggest weaknesses you see, like for countries as a team when they go out, that would, let's say, inhibit their performance overall?
As a team, that's an interesting question. Every country is different, and every country goes out with a different group. And that's stating the obvious, but what I mean by that is the U.S. team is very organized. Cheryl does a great job of that, of making sure players are in the right place, of taking care of the small things. We see other countries, they just kind of show up. Right. And USA has a big advantage over that. They have the athletic trainer, the physical therapist there to support them. A lot of countries don't have that. So there are things in place that do help the U.S. team. In general, though, there's a lot of pressure placed on these kids when they go to Worlds, a tremendous amount of pressure. And it may not be visible, right? It may not be, well, you got to go win now, Maurice. The whole world's watching. Everybody's expecting you to represent your country. It's not that. It's just the fact that there's live stream, and they may have never been live streamed before. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that they have an official referee, which they may have never had before. It's the fact they're in a foreign country and they may have never been there before. It's the fact they may be eating different food that they've never eaten before. It's the fact that your parents are there. All of a sudden, coaches are there. They're wearing a uniform for the first time. So there's a lot of pressures, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be better than I am.
Right.
And there's this pressure to maybe do more than what you're trained to do. And so as a consequence, you're this, I don't know, any age, 14-year-old who's watching the 21-year-olds hit splat rollouts all day. And then you go in and think you have to do that too. And the pressure's there. Well, I've got to play like that. And the reality is no, you play your game. And if your game is better than their game, then you win. But if you try to play something that isn't your game and lose, then we don't know if you were the better player. We have to know that. We have to know what we need to work on maybe over the coming year in order for you to be better next year. But it really is taking that pressure off, remembering why we play sports, which is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to enjoy what we do. We're supposed to love it. And if we take that away from the kids, then there's pressure, there's nerves, and as a consequence, we see players not performing the way they could or should play.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's got to be a big part of taking on the coaching role and having all the assistants, is helping them understand that these are young individuals. They're not mature enough to really, like the IRT players, the LPRT players. They've been playing for a long time. Their mental state is different when they go into a tournament than the juniors are. As you said, this may be the first time they traveled, or there's a lot of pressure, not necessarily external, but internal, that they put on themselves, that I have to, traveling, and people have put money into this, and I've got a uniform and all the things you just mentioned. I've got to perform. Boy, I don't. I played sports growing up, and when I had that kind of pressure on in championships or state tournaments, those type of things, it either I didn't play as well, or it took me a while to get that out of my head. So that's got to be a big part of your coaching strategy, is how do you manage those young minds?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times, and I would say professionals too, who have told me, I feel like I've let everybody down.
Yeah.
And absolutely. You have to get away from that feeling that they feel that they owe somebody something for being on that court. And really they've earned the right to be on that court. Just like everybody else on that court. They've earned the right to be there, and to let them play free. And it's amazing when we play free, right? With no inhibition, with no pressure, we play pretty good.
Right.
We play pretty good. And we've got to make sure that those kids do that and try to take away that kind of feeling of you owe it to somebody.
Yeah. And you just hope that they come away from this with the goal is to walk away from this with one of the greatest memories of their athletic career. That this is supposed to be so much fun with all of their friends. And, the competition's important, but it really isn't the most important thing to me. It really is about, this is going to be a memory they're going to carry for the rest of life, and I hope they just enjoy it. So
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love winning.
oh
I
yeah,
hate losing. But we have to understand, what do we define as winning?
right.
And if I can go and compete against somebody and give everything I've got and play to the best of my ability, and I still lose, in some way I'm still winning.
Right. Absolutely.
It's when I feel like I left something behind and I didn't give my all, or I played according to the way they wanted me to play, then I feel like I lost. And sometimes you can lose by winning as well.
Yeah, and that just teaches you that I need to practice more. My skill has to get better. So that's neat. Well, part of the making the trip to Guatemala that I'm sure you're aware of is the USA Racquetball's Team USA Challenge, and half of all that money goes to the juniors. So this new graphic that we created with all of the junior team on there is part of the new Team USA Challenge, and we have a great set of benefactors that have donated a lot of money, but it's set up as matching money. So we want to let everybody know, if you're want to help support the juniors, if you want to support racquetball as a whole, especially in the juniors, the link is in the comments section. If you donate $100 or more, it's matched by benefactor money, so it's like you've donated $200. If that's out of your budget, any $5, $10, whatever they can afford to donate, please do. As we just mentioned, we have a large team going, and USA Racquetball pays for all of the coaches, trainers, to travel to Guatemala and put them up. So we really need all the help we can get to make sure that our team's there, and we've got all the coaches we can possibly have coaching those players. So the Team USA Challenge is very important. So our next topic, we're going to bring in another guest, Tim. Connor Shane, the Director of National Events for USA Racquetball. Right now, week and a half before the Open kicks off, well, not even that far, just barely over a week before the first match happens, a week from Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
Connor's running around crazy.
Yeah, it's a blast. Yep, lots to do right before. This is like the time when all the shipping and stuff gets finalized. So we've got most of our equipment leaving on Wednesday. Most of the packages that are either not there already on site get shipped out tomorrow. Yeah. And then all the finalized stuff, right? All the orders that we have to put in a week before getting taken care of. I got like 20 more order forms I got to finish by tonight. And then cash and stuff for referee fees. Just got back from the bank. I was a little bit late to the backstage party, but no, it's fun. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm excited.
Yeah. And Connor, Tim, have you met
yeah, Tim, how you doing, man?
Yeah.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, you missed the
I'm
show.
excited to see you I'm excited to see you in Minneapolis. You excited for the new venue?
I am, actually. It's going to be interesting. Just I know the LPRT is really excited to have the show court and increased prize money. I know the ladies are really happy about that. So a big shout out to all you at USCR for making that happen.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was it was tough on the budget, but it was definitely worth it. It was something we want to make sure we stood pretty strong on.
Yeah. So Connor, give us a little bit of an update, and I before we get too deep into it, Tim, how many of the U.S. Opens have you been attended? How long have you been involved with the U.S. Open?
I first went as a player in 2009, I believe, in Memphis. Yeah, I haven't been to as many as I would like. I kind of, budgets are limited, as we all know, especially as with young families, and so I think I've been to about four, I think.
Okay, that's awesome. I love that. We were talking just earlier today on our tournament planning meeting about our photo backdrops and trying to find a way to maybe get some little signage for some of the people to hold up, say, hey, this is my, second, third U.S. Open. This is my 15th U.S. Open. There's a couple people I've talked to that say they've never missed one. So that'd be pretty cool. This will be 26 years. That's a lot of Opens.
U.S. Open.
26, so, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I
cool.
I haven't been at all of them. I think this year will be 18 or 19 for me. So I've been to a lot of them.
That is a lot.
Went to Memphis a lot. Been to all of them in Minneapolis. So,
I think everybody who knows Leo, he's always around our championships too. Love Leo. He's said he's only missed one, I think.
He says he missed the first one.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive. That's a lot. I love that.
Yeah, Maurice, how many have you been to?
Would be number 8, I think.
8?
Eight's good. I like that.
That's a big part of the U.S. Open. So, Connor, give us a little bit of an update. What's new and where are we at with the planning in the U.S. Open?
Yeah, sure. So the planning, obviously with so many changes here, lots of the planning came later and even more recent, especially with a lot of the work that we had to do to try and change the venues. That was a really tough move. And then, of course, without the glass court, the kind of logistics that were normally just all set forth in front of us changed quite a bit. New staffing is going to be really excited. I just finished out 2 weeks ago, I think, maybe the org chart for the tournament organizing committee. And it's pretty cool to look at just to see how many people have such a major hand in making sure this event is successful. So I was pretty excited about that. There was over 30 people that had a massive part of the event success. So that's really cool. I mean, the amount of buy-in we've gotten, the amount of help has been fantastic. I mean, the racquetball community has stepped up, and that's awesome. There's so many cool people that I've gotten to meet and that really have, set forth a lot of their work to make sure that this event is a success. It was very exciting for me to make sure that we made sure this event happened.
I saw the list of volunteers. You mentioned 30 some, but those are the ones that are helping organize in that. The list with volunteers, and we still have some openings. So anybody that wants to come and volunteer, certainly reach out to Connor. But there's close to 100 people working on this event right now. Volunteers, managers, operators, and it's really impressive the number of people that have stepped up that understand that the U.S. Open is critical and want to help. So that's pretty neat.
Yes. It is. It was really cool. And I was really excited to see lots of the people that wanted to step up. I ended up changing the model a little bit so that volunteer shifts looked more like 4 hours. It ended up working a little bit easier so somebody could work a volunteer shift, whether that be with our hospitality team or the security that we need and the shuttle drivers and stuff like that. So that was really cool to see, that many people come up. But there's a lot of people in there. I was trying to find my number exactly to see how many shifts we had, but I did pull that number too, and it was pretty wild. But the amount of people it takes to make success is amazing. I mean, the work that Doug put in for the last 25 years has been amazing, and the crew that he had working with him for many years, some of it almost almost a decade. People that were just endemically knew how the operation of the event worked, and that's why it was so smooth, is being able to build that up. But so far, I mean, we're looking pretty good. The numbers are higher than I expected, honestly. Somehow, the numbers that we try and track and the analytics for all of our national championships are around that sort of like 20 to 25 day mark is when we see that spike. Racquetball players have been notorious for registering late, but the US Open was kind of an extended version of that. We saw, almost 40 to 50 entrants within like 15 days before the event. Yeah. So that was a hurdle to jump over. The numbers were higher than expected. We're sitting, I think right now we're at 380 people in divisions with 82 divisions total. So we'll have about 838 matches, including the pro matches, which is pretty exciting. We got almost to that 400 level. And that means that there is a chance. I did send out an email about using the secondary facility, Fridley. We thought we were only going to be able to use it on Thursday, but I might have to increase that to Wednesday. So there might be a bunch of matches played over at Fridley on Wednesday, which of course I'm working through shuttles right now. So we're getting the shuttles and the hospitality, make sure that that's over there, and then staffing at the tournament desk over there too. John Olson is on site, and he is absolutely critical to the success of this event. Him and the Minnesota Racquetball Association have stepped up, and it's been really, really cool to see how much buy-in everybody there has just for the success of the event in general. And I mean, the event has a big impact on our sport. So I'm pretty excited about that. The entry fees are great, and the hotels are getting full. I ended up adding like 4 more rooms at the Graduate, but they're booked out. That one's like 98% full. It was 100 until I added a couple more rooms. Wow. But we did book, I put 2 on campus on our docket also. So the Hilton Garden Inn on University area, that one's on our portal, and I added 20 rooms over there. And then the Hampton Inn University area, I think I added 17 rooms there. So those are available to reserve if you haven't gotten a hotel yet. Those are the 2 to get, and they're both walkable. The Hilton is like 0.6 miles away, 12-minute walk, and the Hampton's like 0.8 miles away, 16-minute walk. So that'll be pretty exciting.
So you mentioned hospitality, VIP room, obviously for the special people. Got a question off top, just random. Any charcuterie boards gonna be in any horses?
I will personally get you a charcuterie board for the event.
That one. Got it.
No, but we will do hospitality. As many people know, the changes this year was one that we were trying to increase the amateur experience at the U.S. Open, and so we adjusted the hospitality to be provided for all athletes at the main venue and at the secondary venue, Lifetime Fridley, during competition days. So we'll have hospitality. There'll be lunch and dinner, and then we'll have small stuff for breakfast. Typically, we've seen most racquetball players don't ever really eat a big breakfast if they're playing that match. It's just not really a thing. But we will have lunch and dinner. I think I have lunch at 12 every day and dinner at 6 every day, and then we'll have snacks and stuff and various stuff for everybody. But there should be plenty of food for everyone. And then the VIP room is actually right next door. And anybody who had a gold seat or gold box or as an event sponsor will have access to that, as well as top 16 men and women from the pro tours will have access to that VIP room. And we'll have both of the matches, LPRT and IRT courts streamed in there with 2 TVs to live watch in case you don't want to, go sit down by the court. You can, relax on some nice furniture in the VIP room, and we'll have drinks in there, and then, some desserts and stuff, some specialty items for the VIPs. So, and that'll be right next to, it's actually across the hallway from the Athlete Village. So the Athlete Village is a very large room, beautiful room called the Beacon Room at the rec center. And we'll have athlete check-in registration in there. We'll have the medals in there, lots of the industry vendors. You'll see a lot of the racquetball companies in there selling their merchandise and stuff. And we'll have a couple other pretty cool things in there. So that'll be
we have a new shirt system that's going to be there. Talk a little bit about what the new shirt system. Then we've got something I guess it's been tried before, but this is a new vendor. Tell them a little bit about how that
is. Yeah, and I hate when people say we've tried that before, because okay, well, what if you didn't have the resources needed to create it as a success, right? So we're going to do it again this year, but it's an on-site printing model. Our official suppliers, APS Nike, and they supply us with VIK every year. Our Team USA gear is great. But they weren't able to come to the event this year, so we have a different company coming on. And instead of over purchasing, tons of T-shirts and tons of tournament shirts, everybody's going to get a coupon, and they'll be able to print the logo on site. That's what they specialize in. They have a really nice model, very quick turnover rate. So when you go get your athlete bag, there'll be a coupon inside your athlete bag that you take to this vendor and get your own customized shirt, whatever size you want. You don't have to, deal with the shirt sizes that I give you. At the beginning, and then get yourself a customized shirt with the US Open logo on it and the date. And so that'll be pretty exciting. And they're also going to bring some nicer material. They'll bring some higher quality gear. From what I heard quite a bit actually at National Singles and Doubles in College Station was, a lot of the people didn't typically wear like dry fit T-shirts. They would rather have a hoodie or a button-up shirt. So we'll have those for purchase with the logo on them. So they'll be able to screen print that US Open logo on it, the 26th anniversary one. So that's pretty exciting. I'm excited to see how that pans out. Yeah.
And Tim, we were talking a little bit before that you volunteered somehow. I'm not sure how that worked, but you volunteered we got some fantasy IRT and LPRT setups coming out that we want people to have information. You've set that up before. I've never used that before. Tell us a little bit about what that's going to be for everybody that's not going to the event or that's going to the event.
Yeah, we're still working on the details. And before I get to that, speaking of charcuterie boards, Maurice, the number of divisions in the US Open is crazy. But I'm waiting for the old school racket division. I want to play in that, right? Get the old shorts out, pull up those socks. Get my sweatband out there and play with the old racket and ball. I'd love to do that. I'll take you on any day in that, Maurice.
Hey, man, you might have just convinced me. I'm in. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm in. Let's add it at a division in 2023. I'm super down.
Yeah, I know it was done before. I think it was done at US Nationals, though, right?
It was. We had it, and we only had a couple people that entered it. And I used to offer it at my local tournament, my IRT events here in Kansas City. and we'd get 8 or 10 people join it, and they would go in full. We gave awards for not only winning the division, but for the outfit they wore. So we had some really wild outfits, and it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed that. So we may hook you up coming in the next national championship, Tim.
I want to see more John McEnroe. I mean, let's get him out there.
Watch me.
Yeah, we want to do a fantasy bracket. We've been doing them on the LPRT, for the last season, really. And we want to do one that is both LPRT and IRT, but instead of just making it open and available for everybody for free, we wanted to actually add a little fee on it, but the fee actually goes to the juniors team. So really, this is an opportunity for you to make a donation to the team, but participate in the fantasy bracket, men and women, IRT, LPRT, and really contribute back and have some fun doing it. And I've really enjoyed doing the fantasy brackets for the women's tour. It's been fun to watch some quote unquote experts, losing out to people who, are just your typical racquetball fan who, may know racquetball a little bit more than some may think, and vice versa. So it's been fun, and I hope people take part. We'll get the details of that out in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I love the idea came out recently, and I'm really excited that you all were so excited about it as well. I love the idea of having the donations go to USA Racquetball junior team. So all that money from the fantasy will go straight to the junior team, which is really cool. I love that. And then winners of that division are looking at potential, prizes from USA Racquetball, whether it's an APS Nike gear set or some donated gear from the IRT or the LPRT. So it would be pretty cool. And the US Open would be a perfect environment to test out kind of a holistic fantasy. I love that.
Yeah.
So I think
I'm anxious. I've not taken part of any of the ones so far, but this one I may have to get into just to try my luck. So
no, I love that. The last thing I forgot to mention, the athlete party.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about the athlete party. Yeah, we had a couple changes on it, obviously last minute. Changes are kind of tough to deal with, but that's okay. The athlete party, it will be at Surly Brewing though. I guess I'm pronouncing it strangely because TJ couldn't hear me when I was pronouncing, but it's Surly, Surly Brewery. It's a really cool place in the university area, Minneapolis. They kind of purchased a ton of space, and it's an exciting venue. So massive brewery location. Their beer is fantastic, and they've got food there. There's a full restaurant menu there. And they got a big outdoor area. So there's lots of exciting outdoor space. We'll have a tent out there, USA Racquetball stuff to meet and greet everybody. And that'll be 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. Saturday. So if you're around, we'd love to have you there. We're going to do a pro arrivals. The pros will be there from about 9 to 10. So the meet and greet will be around that time. So if you want to come hang out with us, that'd be cool. What'd you say? Sorry.
Well, and they autographs and photographs with the pros during that time. And it's a little bit different. I think a lot of people will be interested to know that it's been at the poorhouse for a lot of years. And those that have gone, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of a bar, loud music, dance place. It's a happening play. This is going to be a little bit different. This is the intent for this player party is to get everybody together, have a good time. There's, like Connor said, there's food. Get some autographs. So we really hope everybody comes and experiences. It's a little bit of a different player party than they've had in the past. So.
It is. Yeah. I'm pretty excited about the new model. It seems like, when we put it through a little think tank about 2 months ago, it seemed to be very, very appreciative for lots of people that, typically like having a meet and greet with the player party in a more laid back setting, as opposed to, a club setting. And speaking of somebody who was at last year's and then I experienced 2019 as well. It's just fairly loud. It's a different environment. And that's okay. I mean, we're doing our best to increase the amateur experience. And if anybody wants to go out afterwards, that's totally welcome. You can go do your own thing. I'll even recommend lots of places for you to go to. At this point, I'll be in Minneapolis almost 12 times this year. So there's lots of places that I have on my list if anybody's interested. But that'll be exciting. I'm pretty stoked to see a lot of people at that athlete party. So. And what did I miss? Any other updates?
It's great to see so many people entered in the Open. The numbers are solid. We'd like to have more, but we understand that it's a tough year and it's a little bit different. So really appreciate everybody coming. We're looking forward to seeing everybody there next week. Wow, I can't believe we can say that we'll see everybody next week that's coming to the U.S. Open. I think they're really going to enjoy it. It's not what it was before, but it is really going. We've got a lot of work in it. Connor's put a lot of work in it. The whole team has a lot of volunteers. So there are a few tickets left, general admission. So if anybody's interested in coming just to watch, we do have a few tickets left in that. Gold boxes are all sold out. Which was great. The gold seats, I think there were a few more left in.
We do, yeah. I have a couple left for the gold seats. So if anybody's interested in getting those, sure. And then the Pro-Am only has 4 or 5 slots left. Yeah. So if anybody's interested in joining this Pro-Am for St. Jude, shoot us a message immediately or go in into R2 and go ahead and register. That's also an opportunity, to sponsor a younger player.
Right.
Who can't afford that buy-in. You can pay a younger player's way in to get that experience. And that would be really cool too. So that's pretty exciting.
All of that money, 100% of that goes to St. Jude.
Yes,
None of that goes to USA Racquetball. So that's a great opportunity to get some players playing and make a great donation to a great cause.
Yep. And I think, I guess I'll end on a good note too. The, obviously some of the lower numbers and the lack of glass court has been kind of tough this year, but some of the metrics that I heard today actually was really exciting, and I'm more excited now for next year. We saw that about the U.S. Open takes about 7% of our membership. So you'll see about 7% of our membership coming to the U.S. Open for the last, several years. This year, with our lower membership and the increased numbers, we're looking at about 9% of our membership. So that metric is showing a little bit of an increase just overall, which is really exciting. That means that, next year we could really knock it out of the park with a planning time and then, enough of the buy-in from the community. So that's really exciting. That's good news. There's a lot of potential for this event.
Yeah. And everybody knows that we've been working on next year's U.S. Open for quite some time. This isn't just we're working on what we are. This is going to be more than that. So that's great. Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys having me on as always. I'm excited to see everybody in Minneapolis next week. I actually leave on Wednesday, so I'll be there for quite a while. I'll see you guys next week.
I'll be there this weekend. We'll get it all put together. So that's great.
Okay. Well, thanks guys. Tim, it's good to see you again.
You too.
Hey, Connor. Tim, we thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you coming on, chatting with us about the junior teams and a little bit about the U.S. Open. Any thoughts before we let you go on either of the topics?
Well, maybe let's just kind of flip things, because we talk about the U.S. Open and what has changed, and there's always complainers about this isn't right. We're not getting this. We should have got this. I went to a pro pickleball event. I know, shame on me. I went to a pickleball event this past weekend and played, and I paid $80 and I didn't get anything. I didn't get a shirt. I didn't get a bag. I got nothing, no food, nothing. You literally get through the door and get to play in a division for $80. And here we are going to the U.S. Open, and yeah, it's a little bit more than 180, but it's over 4 days. This was a one-day thing. I was done in 6-7 hours and out the door, getting my medal near the porta potties around the corner. And it was kind of like, wow, racquetball is awesome, right? Directors are awesome. They do so much with so little money that maybe some people should go check out some of these other sports and realize it's expensive. These other sports are expensive. I played in a squash 57 tournament a couple months ago. It was $120 for one division.
Wow.
And I got a cheap t-shirt, a $5 t-shirt. And that was it. No food, nothing. And it was kind of like, wow, racquetball's pretty awesome. Tournament directors in racquetball are pretty awesome. So a big thank you to everybody who's out there running tournaments and doing it on a budget. I think you need more plaudits than you get.
Yeah, it's hard. It is. I've run 100 tournaments, and it's always enjoyed it. But you're right. There's a there's an expectation in racquetball that most other sports don't have, and I hope people go out and try some of the other sports and then look at just how good racquetball has it with tournaments and food and events and parties, and there's a lot. So it's a great topic. I appreciate you bringing that up. We don't give our tournament directors nearly enough credit.
No.
Maurice, you were up there this weekend, and that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. So, well, Tim, again, we really appreciate your coming out. Thank you so much for coming on and all you do for racquetball. And I look forward to seeing you next week.
My pleasure.
All right.
Yeah, Doc.
All right. Well, that was neat. Enjoy Tim. He's such a sharp guy that is just dedicated to do so many different things.
Yeah.
That's neat. Well, we want to mention 3-wall ball real quick. Out in Vegas, October 26th through the 30th. Make sure you have that on your calendar. I know they're filling up quick, so jump online, go look at the brackets or the people and get on there. They've got a Halloween costume contest. Mike Coulter's doing some really neat stuff, and we will have him on the show soon to tell you all the details and everything that's going on with 3-wall ball. Okay. We are at 50 minutes on the show. I'm going to take just 2 or 3 minutes real quick. The last show, everybody had gotten the letter about my turning in my resignation that October the 7th is my last day with USA Racquetball. As it said in the announcement, it's personal reasons. It has nothing to do with USA Racquetball. They've been incredibly supportive. I can't say enough about all the people that work so hard for racquetball. The board members are great. My board presidents I've had worked with, Dan Whitley, now Stuart Solomon, have been fantastic. They've been nothing but supportive. All of the committees have been wonderful to work with. So it has nothing to do with that. It's personal, and there are so many people. There's no way I could thank everybody. So I'm not even going to try, because I would leave half of them out and feel terrible for what I've done. But I will be on the show. We're going to do a special Real Racquetball show next week from the U.S. Open. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. Talk to a lot of people walking around. If you were watching the show last year at the U.S. Open, Maurice and I sat and we chatted with everybody that walked by. We had a lot of special guests just pop their head in and say hi. So we'll do kind of that same thing this year. It may be during play. It may be during setup. I don't know. We don't even know what day it is yet. We're just going to pick a spot, set a computer down, and Maurice and I are going to sit and chat with folks walking by.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. We'll let you know that one. We do have a show coming up that will be on the 3rd. That's the next Real Racquetball show from once everybody gets home from the U.S. Open. So October the 3rd will be the next scheduled show. So we want everybody to tune in. Our plan is to have Stuart Solomon on, and he and I will give some updates on kind of where the executive director search is, kind of how that's going to go. Chat a little bit about, I know they're working on some interim plans, those type of things, and we will chat about that on that show. You're welcome to stop and chat with me. I'll be at the U.S. Open, helping and doing everything I can. So look forward to seeing everybody there. Maurice, anything else you can think of that we need to let everybody know about?
Yeah, please like and share the video. We would love to get this out and reach as many people as possible. If you have any Real Racquetball champion nominations, please send them at cshane@usaracquetball.com. Hashtag get Mike Wedel back on a racquetball court as always. If you have any pictures, videos, or anything, post them. Hashtag racquetball. Try to bring a friend, anybody, a random person, that person you see that looks like they're bored on the treadmill. Come try and grab them to come play racquetball.
Absolutely.
And serious note, if there's any question that you all want to know, I'm not even joking, however small or how big, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I promise you, I have answered some of the more I don't even want to describe it. I answer any question that you have. If I don't have the answer, I 100% will always find it for you. Our job is to be more transparent. It's one of the reasons why we created the show. We're always brainstorming ways to make it even more transparent. We would love to provide you all with a product that you all will consume. So help us audit our product. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And I think that's all I got to do for you tonight, Mike.
Yep. All right. Great way to wrap it up. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see all of you at the U.S. Open next week. If not, we will see you down the road. But have a good evening, Maurice. We'll chat again soon.
See you, Mike.
Take care, my friend.